now have a presentation by Luis Joglar from SonoSuite and Music Technology Group in Universitat Pompeu Fabra, and Albin, Correya, Pablo, Alonso, and Xavier, Serra, and Dmitry Bogdanov. It's about a library called Essentia. A C++ library for audio analysis that you can now compile on a browser. Whenever you're ready, Luis.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Can you hear him?
Yeah? Okay.
Turn off this one.
Okay, so thank you, Serra, for the introduction. Thank you, everyone, for coming. I'm very happy to be here to present the work that I've been doing with my colleagues from Universitat Pompeu Fabra, Albin, Pablo, Xavier, and Dmitry. So the talk of today is what I'm going to present is how to have Essentia in the browser. A little bit of background about who we are. So I work as an audio engineer in SonoSuite, and I'm also studying in the NTG. And together with the NTG and SonoSuite, we've been working for the past year and a half in a collaboration project developing, developing algorithms to detect audio quality problems in music. Because in SonoSuite, we are a platform that allows digital music distribution. So companies that want to do musical distribution can work with us. It's a software as a service, white label. And so when an artist has to upload music, we have to make sure that the quality of that music is good to be able to send it to the channels like Spotify, iTunes, etc. So we've been working on these algorithms that are now included in Essentia. So a little bit of summary. I'm going to explain what is Essentia for those of you who doesn't know. I'm going to show you some examples of what Essentia can do. I'm going to explain then how to have Essentia in the browser. And finally, I'm going to talk a little bit about further work that we want to work on. So Essentia is an open source library and a collection of tools for audio and music analysis, description, and synthesis. It's written in C++, and it has bindings to be able to make it work in Python. In Python, it's just simple as install it with pip install Essentia, and you can start working with it. It's released under a federal license, so it means that for any kind of research, you can use it for free, and if you want to use it in a commercial product, and then you have to get a license. So a few things that you can do with Essentia. Essentia has inside more than 250 algorithms, and you can do things with it like key detection, organize a collection of sounds by similarity. You can do synthesis also. You can do melody extraction, do some segmentation. Mood detection is also inside the algorithms that you can use. You can do some spectral analysis or analyze the loudness of sound, bit tracking. It has algorithms for audio fingerprinting, also onset detection, and you can also extract features for any kind of classification models. So those are like the main things that Essentia has. Well, the main things you can do with it. It has more, like I was saying, more than 250 algorithms in it. Now I'm going to show you a couple of examples of what we're calling Essentia.js, which is Essentia in the browser. Here, for example, I'm going to show you this one, which is like, it's a code detector. Is this working? I'm sorry, I'm going to play it with a little piano in my phone, so it's not going to be super. But I'm going to play a C chord, and hopefully we will see now it's detecting a C. Well, it changed quite fast, but it did detect it. So now a D. Well, you can see how it works. So another example could be this loudness. So you can see, like, if I'm talking next to the microphone, it has these values, and then if we get in silence, it goes down. It's working. Or, for example, some spectral analysis. Here you can see, like, it's detecting and doing the spectrogram in male bands. For example, if I play a little bit the piano again. Well, hopefully you can see. I'm going to show you now another example, more related with what I was explaining about our collaboration between SonoSuite and the MDG. So as I was saying, we need to detect audio problems. Here I have a song that has two gaps. The first one is, well, I created these gaps, both of them. The first one is what we call a problematic gap. It's just like an abrupt change of energy, so it stops completely, and then it starts again. And the second one has, it's what we could say, it's like an artistic decision. So it's a gap, but someone decided to do it and did it properly, doing some kind of fade in and fade out. So if we call this algorithm called gaps detector, well, I mean, it's just, sorry? Oh, yeah. Better? Well, you can see, like, it did just like, run the algorithm to the song and give us the times where the gaps are starting and ending, so we can show it in the player. So like I was saying, for us, quality control is very important, and right now how we do it is with people listening to the track. So with this, what we aim is to give the people listening to these tracks a tool for them to have like more information, so they can know where is a problem, so they can go to listen to that. I don't know if, well, sound it's not working, but they can go here and listen and check if there is a problem really there or not. Okay, back to the presentation. So why Essentia in the browser? Well, mainly because we think all these features that I've been talking about are very interesting to have in the browser. So any JavaScript audio developer can play with them and do whatever. So now I'm going to explain how to have Essentia in the browser. Mainly, Essentia is a C++ code, like I was saying. So mainly, we have to compile it with Emscripten. And with this, we will have WebAssembly, binary code, and this JavaScript glue code that we can then import into the browser and work with it. So first step would be compile Essentia with Emscripten. It took us a while to do it, but finally we managed to do it. So this is just the few lines that you have to run to make it work. And don't worry about these lines. You have this GitHub in the top right. So in there, you can see all the instructions, all the code that we've been working on, and you can go and play with it. So next step would be creating binding functions between C++ and JavaScript, because you need to have this binding to be able to run any function from C++ into JavaScript. This is something that we have here like a question mark, because we have a few bindings for a few algorithms that we wanted to work with, but as I was saying, Essentia has more than 250, and having to do all this code manually, it's something that we want to try to avoid. So we want to try to automate this generation. Then once you have these bindings, you can just run this script that we have also in this GitHub, and you compile together with Essentia, and you have the WebAssembly file and the JavaScript glue code. Or you can also download this Docker image, skip step 1, and go straight to step 2, running this Docker run command. Then once you have these files, you only have to import it into your web code. And it's also marked as a question mark because with plain JavaScript, it's as simple as that. But we work with Vue.js, and with Vue.js, another kind of Webpack JavaScript-based things, it's not as simple. We are still working on it. We have like a workaround, but we didn't find the proper way of doing it yet. But well. And finally, once you have the Essentia imported into the browser, you can just call it from this module variable that the glue code is generating, and it's quite simple, it's just these few lines. So finally, I'm going to talk a little bit about further work. As I was saying, the bindings, we want to automate the code generation of these bindings, to not having to do it manually. We also would like, once we have all these bindings done, we would like to have a tool for the developers that want to use Essentia in the browser to choose the algorithms that they want to use. And so then you can, well, the system would build these WebAssembly files with those algorithms instead of all the library. So you don't have to import in your browser all the library. There's also a conversion type problem. Well, it's not really a problem, it's just a thing that you have to do. The conversion types between C and JavaScript are not exactly the same, so you have to do some conversions there. We have a few functions to do that, and we will, well, some of them are released and others will be, and in something called like Essentia utils.js. We also want to do some benchmarks and comparisons with other libraries in JS that do these kind of things like Meta. We are also still working on making it work with audio worklets. And once we have all these steps working, we will finally write a paper. As I was saying, this is still work in progress, so you're welcome to collaborate, you're welcome to try it and give us feedback. Anything that you want to do, we're listening, and we will appreciate it, so tusen tack.
Well, thank you very much, Luis. Do you have any questions? One there.
Essentia really seems to have professional tools. What I wonder about the loudness metering is, can we select between different standards, like K metering or EBU standards?
Like loudness, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. In Essentia, you have more than one algorithm for loudness.
Okay.
Yeah, you only have to go to the Essentia website, and there you have all the information about all the algorithms, and you can see we have for different standards, yeah.
Cool, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other question?
I saw you mentioned there that you do classification. Can you just quickly mention classifying what and on what model?
Well, I mean, we don't, like Essentia doesn't do classification by itself. You have algorithms to extract features that then you can use to do your classification. Like you can train your models with these features that you can extract. Is that what? you were asking?
I'll just read the document, so thanks. Thank you.
We can talk about it later if not.
Great.
Anyone has another question? Because I have kind of an insider comment question. So in order to use this, you have to develop your bindings in C++, right?
Yeah.
But I was wondering, because Essentia has these extractors, kind of example extractors.
Yes.
Maybe you could provide some of those already ready-made to use in JavaScript.
We haven't tried that yet.
Okay.
But in the end, it would be kind of the same idea. Like these structures are kind of bindings to use Essentia for those things, so you can do kind of the same idea for JS, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, let's thank you again. Thank you very much.
Thank you.